As 5G deepens connectivity and the Internet of Things widens it, security just has to be more of a priority. But how secure are our networks and what needs to be done to protect them and their users? Well, let's discuss this theme with three experts from NEC. Dr. Anand, Prasad, thanks very much for joining us. You're Chief Advanced Technologist at NEC. You're also the Chairman of the 3GPP Mobile Communication Security Standards Committee. So from a network infrastructure and a standards perspective, is security being addressed fast enough? Do we have the right mindset?
Fast enough is always a big issue. And right mindset, certainly. We can never move fast when it comes to security. Maybe in that aspect, can I mention 3 points? There are three main things I think that should be taken care of. One of them is baseline security. And by baseline, I mean taking care of issues like password, logs, the hardware, the OS, and the TCP/IP stack, at least that kind of thing. There's much more behind it than what I'm telling. The second point that one should take care of, and what we are also doing, is a lot of innovation is required. Like when you're talking about virtualization and things are moving from one place to other, how do you secure this movement? And how do we at the same time secure the security credentials that have to move together? Just think of the attacks that can happen if you don't do that properly. And the other thing is we are moving towards IoT. IoT is car, but IoT is also a dog's collar, maybe that has to stay the dog's life and can send only few bits. So what should be this algorithm, crypto algorithm, that can work properly on dog collar for a few bits a day, and on the car, which can send megabytes a day? It's possible because it has the battery there. The third point I would like to mention, and that I'm strongly pushing, is that I really don't like when people are doing fear mongering with security and trying to sell it. That's not the only way. That's not correct. I think security is a business driver, and the mobile communication business is security. So there are two things. One is that do security assurance kind of service, and there are several set of things in there, like testing of devices and testing of the networks. And once you have that, move towards more clean level with security operations center. That's one thing. That's prevention of loss, I say. The other thing is making profit out of it. And that side, as we are moving towards new things, then you have NFV and all the virtualization and things like that, and IoT, each with different requirements, and the mobile network can provision that. And that's secure network as a service which can be of value for the whole value chain.
Dr. Paul Wang, you're the CTO of NEC and the head of global safety strategy. So if that is the case, if security is a business enabler and that sort of thing, where do you put in the security? Should it be security by design, or should it sort of be on a case-by-case basis, applications, infrastructure, by enterprises? Who should be responsible?
So what we see is that in such a circumstance, in all these various circumstances, that we have to appropriate the right technology to do that. And the question to in mind I have is that what would the security threat models we have to consider, right? If this is not a very high threat, then the overprotection is a cost to the business. And cost to the business is no good for economics, right? Because then the cost will be transferred and no one will buy the services because it's way out of the equations. So I think we first look at the security threat models, right? Is it how adequate the protection needed? I always say enough so that the business can move on. If it's too burdens, then it's impossible to take off, and therefore, from a business perspective, it's going to be a challenge, right? So we have to address the economics, from a business perspective, right? So that it becomes friendly for doing business. Ideally, if we can shift the so-called asymmetric and reduce the attack footprint, then likelihood together we're able to create values to the society. Right. So right now the question is that how can we reduce in the total ecosystem to reduce the attack footprint to minimize that? So the adversary who want to do the attack, it costs them more than to defend, then together we'll win.
Sure.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and I see there's the economics there, isn't there? Seiji Tokunaga, you actually do exactly that. You're manager of cybersecurity solutions and strategy at NEC. What kind of solutions are on offer to help businesses focus in an economical way, in a proactive, preemptive way, and maybe in a sort of using NEC's expertise to give the right solutions for the right products at the right price?
Okay, well that's a big question, but I think you regarding the threat model, I agree, and also who are doing the attacks, and it's the attackers are changing from, let's say, 10 years ago when it was an individual perpetrator, just curious hacking and stuff. But right now it's organization. They are criminal syndicates, terrorists, rogue nations. And the problem with these organizations is that, as with other organizations, they're very well funded. And they're able to hire high-skilled professionals to do their dirty jobs, and also continue to do that for a long time. So once you're targeted, it's very hard for a normal organization to take care of themselves. That's why one of the things as the security service that he proposed, done by the right experts, is a good way of, maybe it's the way in the future. And when you do security, I guess what I would do is break down into design phase, deployment phase, operation phase, and I think all of them is different. In the design, for instance, for the IoTs, we have what we call the OTR, which reduces the computational complexity by half, therefore allowing very small IoT devices to do a secure authenticated encryption. And then, however, we cannot make that mandatory. There's going to be other IoT devices that just don't care about security, and you need to deal with those things as well. That's why we, at the operation phase, a company may have to protect themselves by using something like by building a security operations center and the incident response team.
So NEC's own end-to-end solutions, what sort of things are you offering to enterprises and to operators?
Okay. Well, we offer a couple of them. One of them will be something like the endpoint security management system, which utilizes on the security intelligence and also the ICT situational awareness technologies that we have. Bring them together and have a proactive measures. Now, how do we do that? The ICT situational awareness technology is you have a manager that accumulates all the security information from your network. So therefore, you know what the situation is security-wise within. So when a new intelligence, a threat intelligence, something like that arrives, you're able to quickly assess the situation and take care of it. We could do, for instance, we were able to do 180,000 nodes, that's PC servers, Windows, Linux, in just 1 hour. Where if you don't have the ICT situational awareness, that could take like 2 or 3 months, weeks, because you need to phone them or email them in worst case scenario. And again, knowing what is wrong, after that you could do the proactive measures. For instance, linking with our SDN technology, quarantine the unpatched device, auto patch it, make sure it's running okay, and then bring it back online. Those are the kinds of things we have.
Well, that's an interesting point, isn't it? I mean, the speed of response,
right,
and the sort of the type and the complexity of response,
right,
versus the inconvenience, the intrusiveness of sort of cyber.
Right.
Where's the balance in all that?
So company really need to rethink what is the cybersecurity strategy. They have to have that day in mind. So the whole ecosystem has changed, and now we hear more and more cyber attacks. There's a need to have this such a consideration. It's not an afterthought. Afterthought is the end. Once you have got extortions and all this thing happens, I mean the image already damaged, and it takes years to build that image. It just destroyed because of negligence. So there's a need for a company to really put aside some funds, some budgets for this type, to take this into the real consideration.
So if security then is actually got to be considered a cost of doing business, that cost has got to be driven effectively. And what sort of ecosystem is the best one? Can companies do that alone? Can operators do that alone? Or is it better to have sort of open platforms where people with different niche intelligence can help make security secure?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. Yeah, you need people in-house who understand security. so that they can understand your own security needs. Yeah? What are the requirements, and then what are the risks, and what are the costs associated to the risk, because that's how you come to a balance point where you have a solution which meets your needs and is within the budget limits. Yeah? Otherwise your business runs out. That's one point. But the person understand it's such a wide field now. The footprint we should try to make smaller from security perspective, but it's a huge footprint. So you need different expertise. So you need partnership from outside as well, open base or whatever. You'll need that. But looking further on, if you look at it, you need to provision security services, because I am from mobile communication side, services to many wide range of things, from the mobile device to the IoT devices that you touched.
Right.
But one thing I would also like to touch, which I missed earlier, is the social aspect. 5G will move deeper in the society. Technology will move deeper to very poor people as well. Yeah. Who have never touched mobile devices and never been on internet. So how to provision security for them, while at the same time providing huge megabits of traffic users security for these people and the cars and the plant here, the bottle here, and things like that. There are several aspects to be taken care of. Alone is not possible. You need partnership.
Orchestrating a brighter world. NEC.